Q. What are the best arguments against climate change activists? Rather than approach the issue from the perspective of disputing climate change activists and thus winning an argument, which is how I understood the intent of your question, start with yourself first. Figure out what questions to ask, then seek the answers. Who knows, perhaps you'll see things their way, or, like me, you'll become a so-called denier. I prefer skeptic, but whatever, regardless, the more informed you are, the better you'll be able to hold your own in a discussion. Preferably, debates will do, but arguments are pointless. Here's a partial list of the questions I came up with. Some I started out with, and others were added as I looked further into the issue. Accepting that the Earth is warming, which, near as I can tell, no one disputes, what is it that is actually getting warmer? How long has this warming trend been going on? How much has the Earth warmed during that time? What is the margin of error for the estimated warming? What do we base these values on? What is the Earth's blackbody radiation curve? What wavelengths of M radiation does the Earth radiate into space? What wavelengths of M radiation do CO2, methane, ozone, water vapor, etc. absorb? How much of the Earth's overall outgoing M radiation is affected by CO2 and other greenhouse gases in the atmosphere? Which gases have the most greenhouse forcing? How will the blackbody radiation curve change as the Earth's temperature changes? What processes, besides greenhouse gases, are there that could affect the climate? Why are all the projected consequences of climate change catastrophic? Are there no positive benefits to a warming climate? And so on. These will just get you started. If you're like me, you'll realize how little you know at first. Then, as you start getting answers to the questions, you realize how little activists on both sides of the debate actually know about the fundamentals of the science. The first thing I realized as I went through this is the science is damn complex. Anyone making absolute statements about the climate based on a superficial understanding of it doesn't know what they're talking about. They are just regurgitating what they've read and heard, making little more than arguments from authority. Scientists say. Really? Which scientists? And what are they actually saying as compared to what we're being told they're saying? We're all guilty of that to some extent, so I at least make the effort to recognize when I've fallen into that trap and pull myself out of it. My second realization was that there are reasonable arguments on both sides of the debate. It's not as clear-cut as we've been led to believe, and it is hardly settled. I've learned to largely ignore anyone who doesn't accept that simple reality. We can't understand what we don't know, and we can't know what others are saying unless we listen first. Only then can we possibly hope to arrive at the truth together. People who dig their heels in and reject out of hand the voices from the other side are just making the situation worse.